Well, good evening, and what a great day to be alive.
Dr. J, how are you?
I am doing wonderful. How are you, Dr. Val?
Oh, great. We've been traveling. Actually, I'm still traveling. So I appreciate you being there and holding it down on the end.
Well, absolutely. This Thanksgiving, this past week has been absolutely incredible, and in the midst of it all, sometimes it gives us an opportunity to reflect and to really kind of readjust our lenses. Sometimes it rejuvenates us and it reinvigorates us. So I'm excited, that Thanksgiving was that type of experience for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a peaceful, quiet Thanksgiving. We had made arrangements to go one place and we wind up staying home. And, I just was just in a place of gratitude and thanksgiving for the fact that, I'm still here. I have my husband here, and then, moreover, my parents are still alive. And it is
Praise
such a
God.
blessing at this age. They're in their late 70s and 80s, and they're still here with me at the age of 63.
Wow. That means a lot, when we can enjoy our family members, especially our parents at this stage of our life. First of all, that's a blessing in and of itself. And number two, just to know that, inside of Celebrate, there's a list of things that we can be thankful for. So I definitely can relate to what you're saying in terms of just being thankful and being grateful. And we ought to make it, Thanksgiving is a national holiday, but we must understand that we can be thankful every day for what he's done.
Absolutely. Every day is a day of Thanksgiving. If we're able to breathe, if we're able to move, if we're able to live, that's a day of Thanksgiving. And some may say, I wish I didn't wake up this morning. I have so much going on. I have so many obstacles. My loved ones aren't here. People are still, I don't think any people will ever recover from COVID. Rather, you actually physically had COVID or the fact that you lost a loved one during COVID time, you will never ever really truly get over that. But we learn how to get on. We take each day one step at a time. Each day that we live and breathe and have our being is a new day for us to find our footing. It's a new day for us to begin again and just think about the goodness of the Lord, because at the end of the day, he's still good and he's always faithful to us.
You're absolutely right. And I like what you say. I think it's a reality that we will never really truly completely recover from COVID because COVID came like a thief in the night. It took people, it took loved ones, it took people who was healthy and took them out of here. It took people without a cause. It wasn't a necessarily an age limit or age gap. It took people and unexpectedly like a thief in the night. COVID caused many people to feel as if they were robbed, they were violated, they were assaulted, they were basically blindsided. And because of that, people suffered. People suffered emotionally. People suffered financially. People suffered in every manner. And as much as in natural terms, the government tried to do things to try to level it out, there was no emphasis for people's sudden loss. It wasn't. And we saw people, we were fighting the invisible enemy. It wasn't like we could see it with with his gun in his hand, and no, it was the invisible enemy. And I thought about the fact many of us, you talk about since March of 2020, actually late February of 2020, we have lived up.
February.
Yeah, we have lived up under the guise of experiencing something that we've never known. In the early days, I remember, boy, because it was so new, we had gloves, we had masks, we had gowns. I mean, we went to the gas station, we put on gloves, whatever, because what we knew at that time, we just felt that anything that you touch, it was that transmittable. And for many, they were touched. They didn't touch anything. They were touched. We tried different ingredients. We tried different remedies. We all had the citrus fruit boiling in the water and doing the steam, anything that we could to protect ourselves. And yet and still, there are many people that left here suddenly. It left voids. It left people without plans. No, there wasn't succession plans that was made ready for us. So in learning a new normal and coming back into trying to establish some degree of normalcy, we still find ourselves going, what's next?
Yes.
How do I pick up from here? So how do we find ourselves thankful even in the midst of this storm? When we look at our dinner table at Thanksgiving, and for many, there are people that are missing. The table, there's no one to sit in that seat anymore because they left us suddenly. But yet and still, we have to find that place in that space to give thanks because the fact that we're still here, meaning the fact that we have purpose, there's some work undone. There's some things that is still, if you would, assigned to our hands, and we have to find peace and grace in the midst of it.
Absolutely. This is a year of transition. We have to transition from this state of mind, this state of being, this state of existing that we are actually trying to walk through the end of 2022. We have to be strong. We have to be courageous and remember to breathe in the midst of this situation because of the fact that life is not always going to be the same. Each year, each birthday, each new revelation, there is always something new that we have to be able to cause a shift in us because of the climate around us. Just like when it's raining outside, we got to put on our jackets. When it's snowing outside, we know to put on our boots. So this is how we have to govern ourselves in this natural realm that we're in, because we don't know what's next. But the only thing we know is that if you're covered by the blood of the Lord Jesus Christ, that you have a shot. That's the only thing we do know for certain is we got a shot. And then you say, well, Dr. Val, I don't believe in all that. Well, I would rather take my shot and believing that there is a Christ and that God is who he is, and that when I leave this earthly realm, I will be going to be caught up on being with him. My spirit will be with him. I'd rather live in that fantasy of hope. We're hoping, just like we hope for tomorrow, just like we hope that things will be well, just like we hope that when we wake up in the morning, everything will be well. We hope that as we go to our jobs, that we'll be able to punch that clock and we'll get that check on Friday. We hope that this is not the end. We hope that we'll be able to get in our cars, crank it, and it starts. We're hoping that when we get in that car, we'll be able to drive to that destination. We are hoping. So why not be thankful in the midst of whatever we're going through? You say, I'm not going through nothing. Keep living. My grandmother used to say when she was rubbing her knee and her back and stuff and smelling like liniment. I used to say, what is that? And she said, Arthur. I said, Arthur, who's Arthur? She said, keep living. Keep living. And
Absolutely.
you'll find out who Arthur is after a while. And I got to tell you, I met him.
Exactly. We do eventually meet Arthur, right? Arthur is always accompanied by writers, right? So, yeah. so they both definitely make their appearance in our lives. And you said something that is so meaningful because the fact, Thanksgiving, and you're talking about being thankful in the storm, there are a lot of things. The fact that you and I woke up, the fact that we are here, it's a big indication that we're not done yet. And so one of the reasons I talk about being thankful, think about how many people got this close to Thanksgiving and didn't make it.
Didn't make it.
Some very prominent people, in our South Florida area passed on Thanksgiving. National people, Irene Cara,
yes.
Thanksgiving. Just days before, you're thinking about workers shot and killed in the break room in Walmart in Chesapeake, Virginia. And just before then, you're talking about over 18 shot and a number of them that was killed in Colorado Springs at that nightclub. And I was just in Colorado Springs last week this time. And so then you go just a week or two before then, the college football players at the University of Virginia that was killed. What am I saying? I promise you that in each of those situations, every one of those individuals had Thanksgiving plans.
Yes.
They had plans to be with family. They had plans to be home for the holidays, and it did not happen. So the sense of being ungrateful in a time such as this should not be on our mind. We have to give thanks in all things and be
In
grateful
all things.
that we're able to answer the call, because there is hope. Hope is still alive, and when we understand that hope is alive, then we have room to face tomorrow. In other words, take one breath at a time, and we have the
Yes.
hope of knowing that there is a tomorrow. And I keep saying to every individual, stop focusing on what is right now, because life is constant. It is constant. So it doesn't matter what you're going through, it cannot last. It did not come to stay, it only came to pass. If you would hang in there a little bit longer, it will come to pass. And that's why we remain thankful. That's why we remain.
Actually, you have to hold on. I remember, Dr. J, shortly after I went through my divorce and wind up homeless with me and my 4 children, sleeping on a mattress. I didn't know about tomorrow. I was just living for the day. And I was glad to live for the day, because that me living for the day was hope. And, people say, well, you never went through nothing. Oh, I know what it is to be hungry. I know what it is to take a can of pork and beans and some hot dogs and slice them up real thin,
Yes,
and
yes.
get some rice and make it and pour it over there and make it last a couple of days for 5 people. Oh, I know what it is to be able to not be able to have a turkey on the table or be able to put up a Christmas tree. I know all about that. My children know about all that. So when I go through situations and circumstances and see people going through, I'm like, listen, I've been through it, and you can make it. You can make it regardless of whatever you're going through right now. You can make it. You will survive it. Is all you have to do is take a breath, put your hand over your heart, and feel the thunder in your chest. You can make it. You're going to be all right, because that means that there's still greatness left in you for you to be able to go to the next level in your life. This is all temporary. Whatever you're going through, joy is temporary. Pain is
Exactly.
temporary. We go through seasons in our lives just like the weather changes, but it's up
Absolutely.
to us to have that mindset, to be reconditioned and programmed to know that there is our lives are based on our ability to think. That's where our wealth comes from. We think and we create, and that's where wealth comes from. So our lives are the are a reflection of what we think about ourselves.
You're absolutely right. And so we have to understand one of the things that should keep us from being stuck, because that's what happens. We get stuck because we become fixated on a moment. We become fixated on an
Woo.
event. We become fixated on something unfortunate have happened. So we stop, we park there. But there is a scripture in our favorite book that says, "But be ye transformed by the renewing of your
Transform.
mind." And so we have to
Mm.
renew our mind even about the current situation that we're in. Renew our mind. Don't come in agreement with what's going on there. I love how Les Brown says, when things go left, don't go with it.
Right.
So you have to understand, renew your mind about the situation, renew your mind about the circumstance, and do not dwell on your limitation, but rather look beyond your limitation and look to He who is higher than you, and you will find out that hope. Listen, hope has some handles, okay? I call them
Yeah.
hope handles. You have to grab the handles of hope, and you have to pull yourself up on the handles of hope, knowing that if I can pull myself up, if I can just get up a little bit, I have the opportunity to succeed. I have the opportunity to stand, and then to walk, and then to run. But don't give up on hope.
Right. I read in the word where it says this light affliction
Yes.
is but for a moment. And when he said light, that means
Mhm.
it could be a lot greater than what you're going through. It
Absolutely.
could be a lot worse. We thinking we're going through something, and then we look across the street and we see somebody doing a whole lot worse than we are, and they're surviving. So this light affliction, this transition, this heaviness, this weight, this sadness, this depression, this anxiety that you're going through is but for a moment. but we always have to participate in our rescue. We just can't snap our fingers and we're like in the Wizard of Oz. We have to participate in our rescue. So what does that look like, the participation? That means getting up every morning, brushing your teeth, washing your face, combing your hair, and opening that door and then going outside and say, world, what do you have for me today? Because I'm ready for you. We have to participate.
Absolutely. It's so important to show up. So many people want to see results, but they don't show up. In order to see results, we must show up. I tell people you don't have to come with the answers, but show up. See, part of what I missed from when I was in grade school was the fact that when you were in the classroom, the teacher began by calling roll. So in roll call, what they would do, they would call your name. And if you were there, you said present. But if you wasn't there, you could not answer. So we need to understand if we want to be, if we want to experience, if we want to overcome, if we want to be able to excel, we must first begin by showing up. Showing up. I
Showing
don't
up.
care if you want to drag yourself, but show up. I don't know what you have to do, but show up. You may have to prop yourself up, but show up. Because see, the opportunity begins. You put into action, you put into motion the possibility when you show up.
Absolutely. Our lives are filled with unlimited possibilities. That's my fourth word. Unlimited possibilities, walking in purpose. But guess what? You got to walk. You got to put one foot in front of the other. You got to take action steps. You got to use your hands. And just like I said, you wash your face and brush your teeth every morning. That's how it is when what do you have in your hands? What are your hands made to do that you haven't experienced or even entertain the possibilities of wealth, of greatness, of status, because you've not used your hands, you've not used your mind, you've not used your feet to walk out of that door and try something different. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Do something and get out of your comfort zone. Yes, you may be depressed because your loved one isn't there, and I don't know what that feels like immediately, because I had close family members that passed and it's been a while, so it's a process. You don't forget them, but the pain is a process where it dwindles, and then you begin to focus on what they meant to us and the nuggets that they shared with us, but we never forget them. So we learn how to
Right.
exist with that emotion. We learn how to exist with that pain. We learn how to exist with the emptiness, and we move on and we take the knowledge that they've given us and we apply it to help somebody else, because life is lessons. It's full of lessons each and every day. Every day I'm trying to figure out the next move. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business. I'm an entrepreneur with my nonprofit for the soul of a woman.
Yes.
We have fundraisers. This is Give Back Tuesdays. I posted, support the Soul of a Woman Foundation. And, a lot of people say, oh, she got a lot of help, or Dr. J got a lot of help. Everybody has a lot of help. But no, most of our funding comes from our own hands, from our
Absolutely.
businesses that we have for profit. We sow it into our nonprofits. So when someone is in trouble, and I can't be like, well, I can't help you because nobody donated. I can't help you because nobody gave. No, I have to do what I can to try and help them. But there's people out there that have the resources and are able to participate, able to help, able to sow, able to give, and won't. But when they have a need and there's a situation arise, they be like, oh, I know I could call Dr. J, I could call Dr. Val because, oh, they got plenty of money. No, we don't have plenty of
No,
money.
no. Well, we thank you for the prophecy and the
Yeah,
prophesied, but
we
yeah.
don't have plenty of money.
Well, the thing about it is understanding this. It is understanding the fact of this, that I believe that life gives us these incredible opportunities. What do you mean? In life, you will never always be on the asking end. There will be times that you're on the receiving end. But when you have it, watch this, freely you have received, freely you give. The test of where you will be is based upon the fact of what is it that you do when you have received. Well, I give. Now, If I don't learn to give, if I don't learn to give, then guess what? My receiving is going to be scattered and stagnant because the fact I haven't learned to give. We have learned to give even out of our lack we've given. We
Out
have
of our
trusted because we believe in the law of reciprocity. Number one, we know the fact of law of retribution. We understand all that, and we know that it's going to come back. But it's not just in money. It's also in attitude. It's also in
exactly.
our words, in our deed. What is it that we put in the atmosphere when we're going through things? What is it that we put in the atmosphere when we're when we're doing well? Because I'm telling you, sometimes we're set up that when we have received much, watch this. We are told that if we're thankful over a few, if we're faithful over little things, that we're made what? Rulers over much. So here's the real reality.
Exactly.
Could it be that when we had, could it be when we had surplus? Could it be that when we had abundance? Could it be that when we had more than enough, that perhaps we squandered it and we wasn't faithful over that we had? Because it's always a test. Will you be a good steward of what you have? Do I get it and I hoard it to myself, or do I look to be there for people? You and I know we've done it right here live on this show. We've given to scholarship. We've provided money
Yes.
to graduates from high school and college. We've given money because of the fact we understand this principle inside of doing it. Some folks might not believe it, but some folks are miserable because they're stingy.
Oh, wow. I
You're
didn't.
so
Wow.
stingy that you're miserable. And because something about when you release, there's something about the release. See, we're releasing in the
Mhm.
atmosphere right now. We're releasing blessing. We're releasing positivity. We're releasing love. We're releasing wisdom. And so we have to understand that we're always in a position when you feel that your back is against the wall, release something. Release something. And I'm gonna tell you, if you release something that is dear to you and valuable, let me say, it's like being unconstipated. Let me tell you something. When you release it begins to unconstipate you, because that which is good inside of you can only live and sustain once you give it away, once you begin to disperse. And those are some of
Absolutely.
those life lessons we have to learn to do and be all right with it, knowing that the law of reciprocity is we are going to reap what we sow. If it's been given, it's going to happen back to us.
Absolutely. I've given to people blindly. I've never met. They
Absolutely.
reached out and say they're going through a situation and they're hungry. I've given to them blindly, not knowing. I just feel, you have to be able to feel other people's emotions and feelings. And I believe that's why God allowed me to go through what I went through, because of the fact that um, I'm more sensitive to individuals and their needs when they're going through, when they're broken because I was broken, when they're hungry because I was hungry, when I was victimized. I know what it is for them to be victimized. So, if I had my life to live over again, I would change nothing, because it has created me and allowed me to be who I am.
We're talking about being thankful, but the cousin to thankful is grateful. Now, see, gratefulness happened because you and I have experienced grace. Uh-huh.
Yes.
See, we've experienced grace, and because we've experienced grace, we know what it is not to have. But since we experienced grace and lifted up, now we have learned to be grateful, and therefore we dispense grace to people because we've been where they are. And so, in dispensing grace, I am simply saying, I'm grateful. I'm not giving it to you because you deserve it, but I'm giving it to you just because it was given to me, even when I did not deserve it. So
Yes.
grace is meant to be transferable, and therefore, when it's transferable, that's when we have now demonstrated gratefulness. No, don't tell me you're grateful just acknowledging the fact that it had well, I'm grateful for what you've done. No, you're thankful for what he's done. Your gratefulness is only proven when you show grace and disperse grace in somebody else's life.
Right. You have to pay it forward.
Yeah,
Whatever you're growing through.
yeah.
I always tell individuals, especially during the holidays, look for someone to bless, look for someone to encourage, look for someone to go and sit with, especially our seniors. that,
Absolutely.
you know, their children may be living away from them and they're there alone. Check on the seniors, especially,
Exactly.
you know, those of you that are in the church community. You know, you have elders and seniors in the church. You know, there's single parents in the church. Reach out to them and be a blessing. You know, reach one, and we can take on a nation because of
Yes.
the fact that we're helping, and people, you know, don't do things just to be seen. Do it because you feel it in your heart to do, and I'm telling you, you will be greatly rewarded. You will be greatly blessed. Just help somebody along the way. Just tell someone how well they look, or, you know, call them up and say, how you doing? I was just thinking about you. I do it all the time randomly because I really truly be thinking about different people. I reached out to a friend of mine in New York. I got up like 3 o'clock in the morning and I was praying, and she dropped in my spirit. So the next morning I text her and I said, you know, I'm praying for you. I hope everything is well. You know, be
Exactly.
conscious of the people that God drops into your mind and into your spirit. Check on them, because that's God, that's the angels nudging you, saying they need to hear a word. You know, we have the spiritual realm, but we have the natural realm too. Reach out to individuals because they need to hear a word here in the natural.
You're exactly right. So, you know, it's funny because all of this goes back to, once again, gratefulness. We like quoting the scripture that says, you know, be careful how you entertain strangers, because many have
Mhm.
entertained angels unaware. Could it be that at some point you were meant to be an angel in somebody's life? You
Right.
was meant to be an angel in somebody's life. You was meant to be that encouragement. You was meant to be that person who gave that lift without explanation, without explaining, without people having to fill out some type of application to receive from you, without people having to go to a litmus test in order to receive from you. God did not put us through a litmus test in order to bless us. Listen, as a matter of fact, when we were yet sinners, which interpreted my way, toe up on the floor, up, messed up and broke up, everything, he still sent his son. He still gave the greatest gift to us inside of it. He didn't say, show me how well you can live. Show me that you have the ability to give it back to me before I do it. And so sometimes the test in our lives is, what are we willing to do beyond our norm? We have become so routine minded. We become so ritualistic minded that all we have left is religion, and we have failed to formulate relationship. That is what real relation. That's what real ministry is about. Real ministry is being able to bless someone who don't have the ability to reciprocate it.
Hmm.
They don't have the ability to reciprocate it. But you do it not because you're looking for a reciprocation from them. You do it, number one, because you have received mercy, you have received grace.
You've seen
You've
grace.
given it back
Yes.
into them. So now you have extended that grace. And sometimes that grace can be not just in the form of money. This can be in the form of your conversation, in the tone of your conversation, and so what? To a person who have been abused and lashed out at and verbally assaulted, imagine what the sound of your soothing voice, your soothing tone, your acceptance, and you're not yelling. Imagine how valuable it is to that individual. See, everything that we've been given has the ability to be transferable, and we can show our gratefulness by extending grace.
Amen. You know, when we're open to the possibilities, I believe that we're able to put on the cloak of an angel and
Yes,
move and function in the midst of the people, because God has anointed us at that time to be just that, an angel of mercy and grace and peace to an individual. But are we worthy? Are we open to the possibilities of doing so? So let us remember one another during this holiday season. Thanksgiving just passed, and a lot of people, as I said, have been broken and lost, and, you know, going through emotionally and mentally during this season. So let us remember them, be mindful of them. Don't just take for granted, oh, they okay. Oh, they got this one that's going to check on them. They got that one's going to check on them. Because guess what? A lot of times nobody ain't checking. We're just
absolutely.
assuming that they're
Yes.
going to be okay. So be mindful of one another. If you love and be mindful by checking. It doesn't cause you on your cell phone all day. Pick up that phone and say, I'm thinking about. If they don't answer, send them a text thinking about you, sending you love. I do it all the time. And, I can't tell you how many people are so grateful when I do that because, and it's not because I'm just doing it to do it. I'm actually led to reach out to certain people. And guess what? It is right on time. So I want to thank you all for joining us this couple of days after Thanksgiving time. We just wanted to come on and encourage people because we wanted to be mindful of you. And this is Give Back Tuesday. So Dr. J's website is drjrthicklin.com. He has a nonprofit, Destiny by Choice. Support Dr. J. He's working nonstop all the time in the community.
Absolutely. And
And
likewise, I want them to be able right there from the soul of a woman.com. You talk about birthing purpose out of your pain. That's exactly where this from with you, Dr. Val. You could have wallowed, you could have just been sorrowful, you could have let yourself got into depression, you could have started looking for a pity party and sending out invitations. But rather than that, you turn your pain into purpose, into power, and as a result, from the soul of a woman that is blessed. I mean, hundreds and even thousands of people over the years, not just victims of domestic violence, their children, those that are struggling, people that are looking to regain their footing in life. These things are instrumental. And what people have to understand is that when we do these type of things here, it is our way of not only giving back, but it's our way of saying, listen, the struggle did not take me out, but I
yes,
responded to my struggle. And
and
so
it won't take you out either.
and it won't take you out neither. And that's the thing that we have to
Yes.
allow. It won't take us out. And so as we're in this part of the holiday season, continue to look, pick yourself up, speak to yourself, let your affirmation to yourself say simply this, that I am more than enough. Why am I more than enough? Because listen, God didn't make any junk. The fact that you're here, he simply said, give me what you got. Well, I'm broken. Well, let me tell you, even a broke crayon still colors. Okay? It still colors. The broke crayon still colors. So in the midst of you being broken, allow God to do what he wants to do with you inside of your brokenness. But don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. Don't give in. Know that you can make it. I am telling you, there is a thing that is called mourning. Not mourning, but mourning, morning. And your weeping may have endured but a night. You've been in your night. But I got a promise for you. Joy
Yes.
cometh in the morning. And you need to just decree and declare that it's morning time in my life. You declare, change the atmosphere, put it out there. It is morning time in my life. I declare that, listen, yesterday ended last night. It is morning time.
Yes. The
Absolutely.
sun will shine again.
Absolutely.
So again, blessings to all of you, and thank you for tuning in to another Hot Topics from the Soul. Until next Tuesday, stay blessed, stay well, stay focused, stay on purpose, and stay fired up and charged up. Pass this message along to someone that may be going through something because they are just going through it. Weeping endure for a night, but joy is surely coming in the morning. Good night, and God bless.
Good night. God bless you.